I believe the trainer will be able to take care of the needs of everyone. From the program that we shared with you, you realize there is a part for doing some recap, and that will help those who didn't attend the last session to catch up so that you can be able to proceed together as a team. My name is Silas Mugawi, EDAS Consulting, and we are excited to host this meeting or this training. We look forward to having a good time where we get to learn, we get to interact, and we get to network. As I said earlier, please make sure by the time you are done with the training, you've interacted or networked with at least one other person, because networking is very important. Let's mute, please. Let's mute, let's mute, so that you can be able to hear each other. Yes, so I was saying, make sure you network as part of the training so that you can be able to at least gain something beyond the content that we look at. Yes, so we should be starting shortly. And our trainer is Mercy. She'll be able to talk more and just let us know about her. During the training, kindly feel free to ask any questions using the chat box. So just send a message there with your question, or alternatively, if you want to speak it out, you can raise your hand and then we'll be able to give you a chance to share with us or to ask your question, because we don't want to leave anyone behind. As we continue with the training, let me see if there's a poll to start it off. Yeah, I want to launch this poll. So what you do, it will appear on your screen in a moment. What you do, just respond. There are just 4 questions. Select the answer that suits you, and then we can be able to proceed. The poll is up on your screen. So most of them are yes, no questions. Just respond and we will start from there. So just take 1 minute or so. Should be enough. You respond. I can see there are already responses coming in. Responses are coming in. Very good, very good. Let's keep them coming. We are at 57%, 60% response rate. I'm looking for at least 80. We are at 60 still. 64. 64, 64. Keep the responses coming. %66. 70%. 70%. 73%, 78%. Good, good, good. We are almost there. Let's get to 80 if we can't get to 100. 79%. Some two more people. Great, great. I think we can end it at that point. Yes, we have 80%, 81% actually. So that's okay for us. That's how you can be able to continue. Okay. So let me quickly run us through the program, and then we look at the poll. Please let's mute. Achan, Anna, Juliet, and Anna, kindly mute. Okay, so I want us to run through the program very quickly. So the topic is personal finance management, and our trainer is Mercy Mutuku. This is the outline of the training. So apologies, these times are EAT, East African time. So I know it is 1 hour ahead. So when you see 2 p.m., that is the East African time, Nairobi time. Yeah, so the training will ideally run from 2 to 5 or 1 to 4, that other side. And we will have the preliminaries. Then we will do a recap of PFM1, what we did last time, for the sake of those who are joining us today. And we look at financial literacy, planning, and a follow-up on PFM1. Then after that, we will get to investment and debt management, which is what was not covered last time. So this one, all of us will be able to go through it. And here we will get to, and something else that will be covered in the training is the aspect of inflation. And as you are aware, inflation is a major issue that is facing the finance industry. That's why at some point, what people used to buy with 4 USD 10 years ago is probably costing 25 USD because of inflation and the rest. So we'll also look at that. How does it affect you as an individual? And then we'll wrap it up for 30 minutes with having Q&A, questions and answers. Then we will close the course at that point. So that is ideally how the program will run. Now, we just did a poll, and I want us to look at the findings. Interesting. So I believe Mercy is in. Yes, I can see her. She's in. I wanted her to take note of this. Hi, Mercy. Okay. So the first question was.
Hi, Silas.
Can you hear me? Welcome.
Yes, apologies. We were experiencing some, electrical issues, and I had to find another venue quick. So I'm sorry I kept you waiting. Yes, you can let me know where you have gotten to. And I hope you can hear me clearly.
Yes, I can hear you clearly, and welcome so much. We did a poll, and that is what we are just going through right now. Probably you'll start from there once you kick off the training. So I want you to note the findings of the poll. And the first question was on whether the participants understand the term finance management, and 89% understand this term, but there are 11% members who do not understand the term finance management. Number two was a very critical question, whether we have any savings. Now, 69% of you have some savings, but all 31% of our participants do not have any savings. They live one day at a time, sweet Jesus. So that is also something that we need to note. We need to take them from that point where they are to the point where they join the other 69%. The third question was, on average, what percentage of your income do you save? And over 50% save up to 10% of their income. So half of these members save 50% or less. So that is 0 to 10%. We have 43% saving between 11 and 30%. Basically, what it means is if you are earning 100 USD, 50% of you save 10 USD and below. 43% save 11 to 30 USD. We have 3% who are saving 31 to 60%, and we have 3% who are saving 61 to 100%. I am curious to know, these people who are saving 100% of their salary, how do they pay their bills? Or they don't have any bills? Maybe you can chat it. One of you, those who are saving over 60% of your income, please, I want to know how you are able to do that. Kindly chat us up so that we can be able to learn from you how to save 100% of your income and still pay your bills. The fourth question was whether savings are really necessary in these tough economic times. 6% of you are saying, really, it's not necessary to save. The economic times are, the times you're living in are very tough. You don't have to save. That is 6%. 20% are neither here nor there. They're saying maybe yes, maybe no. But a good percentage of 74 are saying sure, savings are important in this tough economic time. So let me end it at that point on my end. I want to hand it over to Mercy Mutuku, who will take us through the training. Mercy Mutuku is an expert in this, having conducted consultancies and trainings and programs around finance. And I believe she'll be able to equip us effectively for matters personal finance management. So thank you so much, Mr. Bida. I'm not sure whether you can give your opening remarks before I hand it over. Are you in a position to?
Not really, but over to Mercy, and then you just take note of the participants. You kindly mute those ones who are like trying to interpret somehow.
That's fine, Mercy. Over to you. Take it away.
Thank you so much. I hope you can hear me.
Loud
Hello.
and clear.
Awesome. So thank you for the statistics. It's quite, let me say it's 50-50. It's encouraging to see that there's a percentage that's actually taken what we've been able to learn in the last lesson and applied it, you know. And let's say that there's also hope for the lesson. When it comes to finances, it's, you know, it's habits that we make on a daily basis. So we need to have the right mindset. We need to have the right skill set, and that is why we are here. So I'm hoping by the time that you're going to finish this presentation, we'll be able to change our mindsets. We'll be able to know why we are doing it. Because when you know why you're doing it, you're motivated to do it. And we'll be able to increase the percentage of, you know, like the people who are saving, because I believe you have to start from somewhere. That's okay? And even as we start, I am aware that we have a large number of new people that are not in the previous class. I have been able to see that through the WhatsApp group. And so what I intend to do is I'll do a bit of recap from what we did last time. And for this session is I want it to be very lively. I want us to give live experiences and also ask questions. I want us to be very lively and interactive. You can raise your hand, you can post your question on the chat. Silas will help me with reading the questions. And as we start, I want us to know that each and every one of us is unique, and you have the power to change your circumstances. Nobody was born to live in poverty. And that's why we're here in this class, because there's something about our financial status that we want to change. We want to move from point A to point B. Point A is different for every one of us. So with that, to start, and we'll start with the objectives. Financial literacy. Then we're going to also talk about effective learning is how where do we begin from. Then will be equipped on how to cultivate and maintain, just as you have me all the time on, don't wait until you have 10,000 USD dollars to start. We are starting now, and you are starting with what we have. That's okay. And finally, we are going to be equipped on the importance of investing and the different investment vehicles. So from this session, we're going to see what is the difference between savings and what is the difference between investing, and what investment options do I have. And as I had said, as we had started, sorry, I want us to stick with this quote that I can change my circumstances because I can change me. Okay, and you're going to see how that's going to pan out. I was hoping that we would start with this, maybe get 2 volunteers from the previous session, the Saturday that you are here. And I just want 2 people to raise their hands, and we'll be able to pick them, and they can be able to answer these 2 questions. Have you computed your current net worth, and how have you been paying yourself first? Because these are lessons that we learned from the previous class. So maybe you can have a few volunteers. Silas, you can help me out with choosing. Let's have 1 lady and 1 gentleman, just to see where we are.
Sure, let me do that. Katmai was the first to raise the hand, so you can go. Just kindly unmute and.
Although I think it's not about me want to contribute something, but I'm getting a lot of noise at the background where she's trying to give us. So it's good if the background should be at least quiet, because we are not even grabbing anything. If it's me alone, I don't think. And I think one has to participate.
Sorry about that. Guys, can you hear me? Do I have to remove my earphones, or are you okay?
I think the noise is coming from those who are joining and not muting. And that's what I've been trying to do, just mute those who are joining and having their audio on.
But you can hear me clearly?
Yes, there's no, on my side, there's no issue.
Oh. Okay, because I was wondering, in case of anything, feel free just to stop me and I'll be able to adjust. Thank you. So we can have 2 volunteers. Got my?
2 volunteers. I'm waiting to see 1 gent and 1 lady raising their hands, so that you can start from there.
Or have we forgotten? We want it to be very simple, so don't feel any pressure. We have said we are starting with what we have, right? With the knowledge that we are having, with the skill set, so that I can see where we can add more emphasis. So kindly let's have 2 volunteers. Guys are shy today. Okay. In the essence of managing time, as we're learning how to manage our finances, allow me to move forward. And Silas, after I conclude today's session, maybe we can go back to this so that, we can refresh our memories and see what we had forgotten. That's okay?
That's okay.
Okay, thank you. So I'm hoping that we'll be able to remember what we talked about, and I'm hoping to take the next 30 to 45 minutes just to take us through what we were able to learn last time. And the first thing we started is what comes to your mind when you hear the words financial literacy. And because today I want to be very, keen on time, I'd like for us to be very active, especially in the chat box. And feel free, this is a safe space, right? So in answering this question, if you'd like to raise your hand, please raise your hand. But majority of us, I see we are 52 of us, I'd like for us to type in the chat box what comes to your mind when you hear financial literacy. I see Go. We can have Go and do Twatch, and then you can move forward.
Okay, thank you very much for the chance. Financial literacy
Go.
is the ability to use knowledge and manage financial resource and effectively for a lifetime financial security.
Oh wow, that's an description, and I'd also like for us to break down in the simplest of forms. Something that if somebody on the street is able to ask me, I can answer, because we are talking about real life, right? We're not doing an examination. That is well captured. You have captured all the aspects, and I'm hoping to hear even something simpler with Go. So Go, you can go ahead.
Okay, thank you,
Go, can you hear us?
for
Yes.
giving this opportunity to me. I would like also to express how I understand it my way, and maybe you may also correct me. What I understand by financial literacy is like someone who has idea and knowledge on how finances are managed, like on how you manage finances. So someone who has knowledge or information of generally finance language.
Wow, thank you for that. And thank you, Go. And I feel you've been able to capture also as some aspects of financial management. And just to sum what you and was it Dua was able to say, we can say it in the simplest of terms that when somebody in the street asks you, you're able to answer. We can say it is a process of wisely managing your personal finances so that you can achieve your goals and dreams. And in today's session, I'm going to be very, I'm going to really reiterate on goals and dreams, because that is where you have to start. We are not starting with which which investment vehicle has the highest interest rate, because we are starting from the wrong foot. So today I want us, even as we go through this session, I hope everybody is having a pen and a notebook so that you're able to note down, what do I want for my life? Where do I want to be by the end of the year, by the end of 2 years, by the end of 5 years, right? So again, I said this is not a class with an examination, right? This is evaluating yourself so that you're able to change something about your life. So you can have a notebook and a pen. And even as I ask these questions, you can note them down and you can continue asking yourselves even after the session. So I want us to really focus on, what goals do you have in the different spheres of life? My financial goals, where do I want to be? What do I want to have? Where do I want to stay? How do I want to impact society? So what are your goals? What goals do you aspire to? And what are the dreams that you have, right? And so we'll talk about financial literacy as a set of skills and knowledge, attitude, and behaviors. Both people have been able to talk about the same. You need to have a skill set. You need to have the knowledge, and that is why we're in this class. You need to have the right attitude. You know, we will get to realize that in finances, one can have the abundance attitude or the scarcity attitude. How do you see money? Have you come from a background where you're told money does not grow on trees? Because if that is the attitude that you still carry, it's going to affect your relationship with how you manage your finances. And then behaviors is after you have processed all this, now what are you doing, right? So we say it is a set of skills and knowledge, attitude, and behaviors that allows individuals to make informed and effective decisions. You need to make informed, decisions. It's not, there's this, I'll use an example that was, in Kenya, of quail eggs. And when it started off, the first few people made a lot of money, and people thought that is the way to go. And so everybody ran to that, and then it plummeted. And people are experiencing high losses. So even as you make a decision to save and invest, you're making decisions from an informed point of view, right? And the main purpose of all this is to achieve individual financial well-being. Maybe my financial well-being for me is my money is able to work for me. I do not have to go to work for a week or a month. So it has to be, what does that mean for you? So that comes from changing your current behavior to your desired behavior. And even as we move to the next slide, I want us to think about ourselves. What am I currently doing that is not financially healthy? And we'll take examples of current financial behaviors as living on a day-to-day basis. And Silas has been able to talk about that in the poll. I don't really save much. It's every day for itself, and Jehovah sought me. Whatever comes, I don't know how to deal with it. You're going to show me. So I want us to change our mindset and see how can I move from living on a day-to-day basis to I actually have an emergency fund. In case of anything, I have a few US, dollars tucked away that I can use on the rainy days, because everybody experiences them. They're part of life. And so moving from that to a desired behavior would be making a spending plan. How much do I want to spend? How much am I spending on the weekends? Do I need to cut it? Do I need to adjust it? So you cannot move if you do not have a plan. Having a budget and using these two tools to manage your finances. And you're going to delve into that as you continue. And another current behavior will be savings, not linked to a savings goal. I'm saving because people are saving. I'm saving because my friend has saved with KCB. So I also want to save with KCB. So when we talk about savings, we can all talk about, it can be you want to move from that mindset to having a savings plan with their goals. And I told us to relate that to what are you doing? You are unique to yourself, you have unique to and you say in dance to that goal. Current behavior we have talked, my finances is going to be like money. This is what we actually have an emergency savings plan. And the final one, presentation is not very paramount. Then I say to make the right investment. You won't move with the investments because that is where most people are. And you'll get to realize that financial literacy is important because you'll be able to get to make good decisions on money matters. There's somebody who's speaking. Kindly mute your mic. You'll be able, to have money to meet your emergencies and any other important things. It could be there's a wedding, there's a burial, maybe you want to buy a car, you want to own a house. Again, goals are very different. Where maybe I want not to be the same as where all of us.
Excuse me, Marcel.
And please also
Excuse me.
in case you have any to be able to review later.
Hello?
And also, kindly let's mute our mics. Yes.
Excuse me, Marcy.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a background noise that I'm hearing a lot.
Yes.
And also your network is a little bit not well. I'm not hearing a lot of things. I don't know whether it is in my side or it's everybody's thing that is really, I'm not hearing most of the things.
I'm also
Thank you.
facing the same
Oh.
problem that is saying. It is the same thing that I'm also
Uh,
going through.
Yeah, so there's somebody who has joined and they have not muted their mics because I think they're watching football. That's why I'm requesting kindly when you join the session, mute your mic so that everybody will be able to hear me. That's okay? Silas, you can help me with that. Silas,
Yes, Mercy. So
kindly.
I think the other issue that participants are raising is that your network is breaking. So maybe if you can find an alternative. On the noise, let me handle that by meeting participants.
Okay, so in case it continues, just let me know. I have a backup. I'll be able to switch if that's okay. That's okay? Is it okay right now? Okay, please let me know and I'll be able to switch. I won't know if you won't tell me. That's okay.
That's fine.
Thank you. Okay, so let's continue. I hope everyone can hear me now. And then the other thing of why we consider it important is you're able to convince others to lend money. If I know you have good spending habits, you have good savings habits, I will be sure that if I give you my money, I won't come and beg you to return it to me. So people will be able to trust you, to trust that if I give you something, you're able to return it and at the right time, and I won't have to follow up. And then you'll be able to have the knowledge that of personal financial issues. So I'll be able to know, by the way, I actually spend so much on buying secondhand clothes, for example. So if that is my problem, how can I improve it? You're able to see the loopholes or the gaps that you're experiencing financially in order to know how to fix them, right? You do not treat a disease that you're not aware about. The other thing is you're going to be able to develop confidence and attitude that enables one to be sufficiently self-assured to make decisions. Again, this is related to the first topic that we talked about, making good decisions in relation to money matters. And then the other thing, it will give you the confidence, the confidence to be able to discuss money matters, financial issues. Will it be with your friends? Will it be, in other sessions, even when you're talking about like maybe treasury bonds and treasury bills, you have the knowledge, so you're able to give an opinion of the same, and maybe you can even invest in them so that even as you give your opinion, you have the experience to back it up. So the other thing, you'll be able to make good financial choices about saving, spending, and money. Yes.
There is a lot of background noise coming from your end. Maybe you can request them to lower their volume, or you can maybe move to a better place. Because
Okay, that's okay.
That's the complaint I'm seeing from most of the participants. And I can also hear the background noise.
Okay, I'm so sorry. It's this electricity issues, but I'll try and switch as soon as I give us, once we break into our breakout rooms, I can find a quieter place. Yes.
Can you please?
Hello. Yes. Is there somebody speaking?
Someone was
Okay,
speaking,
so
but I think they have
kept quiet,
so
right?
just continue.
Okay, sawa sawa. So now that we have understood what financial literacy is, we'll move on to what is a financial plan. And in the simplest of terms, we will say that this is a roadmap that entails your current finances, your financial goals, and any strategies that you have set to achieve those goals. Then again, we also come back to what are my financial goals. Knowing my financial goals, knowing where I am financially, will help me cross the bridge to where I want to be. Again, you're not doing this only for your current self, you're doing it for your future self and also for your generation. And because as we move forward, we're going to see these words. Sorry, my screen screen, we'll start with understanding, like when we talk about budgeting, what is it? And we'll talk about it being a process of creating a plan to spend your money. This is showing your money where to go, right? I want 10% to go to tithe. I want 10% to go to maybe my rent, So budgeting is basically telling your money, this is where you go, this is where you go, and this is where you go. Saving is income not spent. That is income that has been set aside for a specific period. Investing is the act of distributing your resources into something to generate income. So investing is showing your money where to grow, right? And debt management is the entire process of, is a way to get your debt under control through financial planning and budgeting. So how am I going to get out of the debt? It's also like a pathway. I'll start from here. This is how much I have, and this is how I'll get out of debt 1, debt 2, debt 3. Financial accountability. For the previous session, we have talked about being accountable and having accountability partners. So I hope that maybe you picked one person or two for that. So it is a responsibility for the way money is used and managed, and we can also call it good stewardship. And I see there's somebody who's writing on the screen. So maybe Silas, you can also check on that. So once we understand that financial planning is a roadmap, we will get to break it down into 6 steps on, so how do I create this roadmap? How do I know where I'm actually currently standing? And the first thing we'll talk about is in assessing your financial situation, right? And that okay, thank you, Silas. I see that. And with that, we'll be able to talk, when we talk about the first step in assessing your financial situation is getting actually understanding, where am I currently? How much debt do I have? How much assets are in my name, right? And you get to, even break down when you talk about assets, when you talk about liabilities, what exactly do you mean with all of that? So the first step is to understand in my financial space, in my financial sphere, where am I, right? So, and once you get to know that, you get to know your net worth. And that is one of the, somebody is pending with your mic. And from that is where we are going to be able to establish our net worth. And that was one of the questions that you'd actually asked during the icebreakers. What is your net worth? And knowing your financial situation is knowing your assets and your liabilities. When you minus your assets from your liabilities, the amount that you remain with, simply put, that is going to be your net worth. So I'm hoping by the end of the session, we'll go back to that first screen and people will be able to tell us whether they've been able to determine that or where you're currently at, okay? So the first step we have said is knowing. You need to know. We are getting the knowledge. So once I know where I am, I'll be able to create a budget because I will know where my money is coming from and where my money needs to go to, right? So with that, I'll be able to prioritize my needs. I will know these are things I cannot do without. Those are needs. And I will know my wants. These are some things that I like, but they're not that important, Then also do I go out and do need to reduce the number of times I go out in a week, right? So I know if I have 10% to spend on, maybe beauty products, so I can't go beyond that, right? And also it helps us to refrain from overspending, especially impulse buying, as I have talked about it. And then before you decide to borrow money, make sure you can afford new debt repayments on top of your current expenses and commitments. There's a quote that I had that was saying, if you cannot afford to pay for an item, like if you cannot afford to buy an item twice, then you really don't need to be buying that item. If I cannot afford to maybe buy a vehicle twice, like in case it breaks down or you get into an accident, I cannot get into another one, then maybe that type of vehicle is way above my budget, because what it will become is a liability, with the expenses that are needed to maintain it. So maybe that's a principle that you can also attach in creating your budget. And in the next slide, you get to see a monthly budget tracker. This will be shared alongside with the slides. And it's basically now break. Okay, thank you, Silas. I see that. And so with this, you are able to not really break down, right? I know where my money is coming from and where my money is going to. And even in the first column, we are able to see income sources. So am I employed? You see the first column, there's net salary. I'll be able to put how much am I getting from my employment. Maybe do I have side businesses? I want us to move from the mentality of hustle, and let's talk about business, because business brings you money, right? So, and in doing this, we also need to establish that you have a primary source of money and we also have secondary sources of money. You should be very keen. Somebody is talking? Is it a question? Hello? Okay, so in establishing our income sources, you need to identify what is my primary source of money, what is my secondary source of money. So for example, in this monthly budget tracker, we have the net salary. If I am employed, I will indicate the amount of money I'm getting in January, on February, and on March, and so forth. If I have, side hustles, maybe I sell clothes on the side, maybe I have a bakery on the side, I can list that down. That's okay. And so after that, we are able to add it up and I'm able to know the different streams of income that I have and how much they're bringing in. After that, we go to the expense category, and allow me just to bring this closer because I can't see it well. So we have the expense category, and we are able to see from that we have savings and investment. Somebody is kindly mute your mic. And with that, we are able to see the savings and investment category. And this is, as we have talked about, save your profit, right? So we're able to see, okay, so if I'm saving, how much do I have in savings? Even if I'm investing, I am investing, how much do I have in investments, right? So maybe this could be, I have invested in unit trust, I have invested with the government in bonds or in treasury. So being able to list, and so I know how much goes where, right? And then debt repayment. Maybe I got a loan to go through my university and I'm repaying that on a monthly basis. So I can put that under debt repayment. And then we have mandatory bills and expenses. In order to live, there are things you need to do on a daily. Do I need transport to get to work? Do I need to pay for utilities such as rent, such as water, such as electricity? So that goes there. And there's also giving and miscellaneous. So maybe I give tithe in church, maybe I give to the charity. How much do I give? So maybe in savings, this is how much I've put into debt repayment. I hope that you're understanding. So now I know where my money is going to, right? And as I had said previously, once I manage the income from my expenditure, I'm able to know what is my worth, my net worth, right? And even moving forward, we are going to also talk, you see at the top, we have the 50-30-20 budgeting rule of thumb. We're going to really delve into it as we continue with the session, just to see what does it mean and how does it come, even in developing a monthly budget tracker, because it enables you to know what percentage can I, and so once we are able, and before I even move on, I feel this is very important. I'd like for us to spend the first session. I saw in the WhatsApp group that people decided now they're not going to take, their people out and all that. And when you talk about finances, financial planning doesn't have to be boring. What we are doing in this space is how can I manage my finances so that I'm able to experience financial freedom. So that means I am able to even do the things that I enjoy doing, but they're within the budget so that I don't have the pressure of maybe debts to fulfill what I want. Okay. So the third step will be setting of financial goals. Now I know where I am in terms of the money that's coming in and the money that's going out. And in setting of financial goals, let's say, for example, I want to have an emergency fund of $1,000 or 900 US dollars in, I have to say, I have to put a numerical target. So I want to have an emergency fund of how much, by when, So maybe say, I want to have it in, I want to have an emergency fund of $1,000 in the next 3 months, so that I'm able to break it down to, so how much do I have to set aside in order for me to accomplish my target of $1,000 US dollars, sorry. So ensure they have numerical targets. We talked about SMART goals, right? And one of the things that will enable us to achieve our financial goals is, kindly let us know, is Silas, help me out. Thank you. So
Sorry, you
ensure
can
they have,
continue.
ensure, thank you, they have numeric targets, right? I want to own a house. Okay, everybody wants to own a house. What type of house do you want? Where do you want it to be? But when do you want to have it? How long will it take you to get there, right? So let us break it. Once you have a numerical target, it makes the goal less scary. Because when it's, I want like a 3-bedroom or a 5-bedroom mansion house, it sounds so big, so unachievable, right? But when you break it down, it's you can be able to handle it on a maybe weekly or a monthly basis. So in setting our financial goals, let's make sure they have numerical targets. And also when we come to goals, we're going to classify them in 3 areas. We have short-term goals, we have medium-term goals, and we have long-term goals. So even as you look at our next slide, you can maybe borrow ideas from the same. I am here in this class for a reason. Maybe I have been in so much debt, and for me, my main goal is to experience financial freedom, so that when there's an emergency, I have some funds I can actually draw from and, make a deposit or pay off whatever it is. So maybe my goal will be, I want to set aside some emergency funds. Maybe I want to buy a car. I want to maybe go to uni. I want to do my undergrad. I want to have a PhD. It's all different for all of us, right? So once you are able to know what are your goals, then you'll be able to break them down into which is short, which is mid, and which is long term, right? So for example, I want to buy groceries for my house. That will be, I'd put it under maybe my short term, because that is something I do on a monthly basis, right? When I say I want to have an emergency fund, it's going to take me 3 months, it's going to take 6 months, it's going to take me a year. I can put that on the midterm financial goals. Long-term goals, I want to save for retirement. That's a long-term goal. Maybe I want to retire when I'm 60, and maybe that's 20, 30 years from now, you see. So this is important because it helps you in selecting the right investment vehicle. Remember, for all these goals, we have different investment vehicles, right? So maybe I cannot invest my money in treasury bonds because they take time, and maybe I'm saving for emergency funds in a treasury bonds, and we'll be able to talk about that later, because when you talk about, like, for example, emergency funds, this is money that I want to preserve that money, and I want it to be easily accessible. And when the investment vehicles, when you put your money, it's going to take time before the money matures and before you can withdraw your money. So being able again to classify your money, your goal, sorry, is it short term, is it mid term, is it long term, will also influence the type of vehicle that I'm going to take. And then the fourth step, remember we have talked about investment vehicles, right? And these are the different avenues where I can put my money and it can bring me profit, is knowing your risk tolerance. As I started off, I said that we're all very unique, we're all very different, right? So even when it comes to financial cases, we make different, we make our financial decisions differently. So on the slide, we see that we have 5 levels of risk tolerance. So it's us taking time to understand, am I conservative? Me, when I give you my money, I expect it to come as it is, you know.
Baby, Wi-Fi